Hey guys, and welcome to this month's monthly chat. I am so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna apologize off the bat if this video gets too bright, gets not too. I am figuring out the lighting here. This is actually the first video I'm even recording in my new little space. See Shiva. Hey girl, hey girl. Basically, this is my new kind of area that I am going to be editing in. I have a desk here. Ooh, I'm so fancy. I have a new desktop that I just got. Okay, so I'm gonna start this video by saying I wanted to say thank you guys for all of the support, because you guys supporting me on Patreon has helped me to get a setup that is actually going to be a lot easier for me to edit videos, get videos out, and hopefully just everything in general will be a little bit easier, and that way I could push out a little bit more content for you guys. It makes me really happy about all of that. This is still my laptop, that my good old trusty, and if you can hear it humming right now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but you can, it's exporting Wolverine Origins right now, so you know. So yeah, the majority of this video is going to be the regular monthly chat, but I kind of wanted to do a little bit of, you know, me kind of just talking to you guys about the channel and everything as well, and kind of give you an update that I'm working. I mean, the walls are really bare, the lighting's not the best yet. I have, if you could see, this is a mess. But I'm working on it, and I'm working on getting this to be an actual space that I can, because I haven't had that. I don't have like a place in my house that is just dedicated to just getting videos out and stuff like that. So I'm very happy that this is happening now, and it's because of you guys, and I really, really appreciate that. Next order of business, I guess, is monthly videos. As you guys probably noticed, we are not having a monthly video this month. It's on my mind to possibly nix the monthly videos, at least for maybe a time. I'm trying my best to figure out what is working for Patreon and what is not working for Patreon, because I put a lot of work into my main channel. I also put a lot of work, and though I think my new desktop and better internet and editing and all of that stuff, I feel like it's going to help make things a little bit easier for me. I put a lot of effort into my YouTube channel. I put a lot of effort into Patreon, where it's just always going all the time. And any stuff that isn't super doing the best, or something that you guys don't typically really care about, I kind of want to nix that, and then, you know, kind of put all of my energy and all of the time, the little time that I have, into stuff that you guys actually want to see. And for the past, I would say, quite a few months, the monthly videos have just not been doing that great. People haven't really been giving any suggestions, and sometimes the suggestions are maybe something that I've already planned to do for my channel, so I can't even use them. And it's just, and then it like turns into me having to come up with 4 video ideas that you guys can vote on, and half of the time I'm like, these aren't good ideas. But it's like, it's a mad scramble to be like, oh, what can I do? Maybe this. And I throw it out there, and then, and some of them I think have been really, really great, and some of them I just don't think are really worth it. So I'm thinking about maybe nixing the monthly video idea, and then maybe trying to figure out, or just figuring out a better way to do it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, if you guys particularly like it and would like me to still do it, or, you know, because I think for the past few monthly videos, it doesn't seem to have they haven't done the best. So and sometimes when they're just like a short reaction, they're actually not that difficult to do. But sometimes when they are a lot more involved, where I have to come up with a list, or I have to film a cooking video, which is the most difficult videos that I have to do just because I don't have a setup for it and stuff like that. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yes, I'm going to get right on into the chat now, because Lord, I feel like this video is going to be long if I keep just talking about my, you know, channel and that's it. Okay, so sorry. I'm gonna start with Fear the Walking Dead, because I feel like I have a lot to say with that, and also I have this is my first monthly chat where I've officially announced that I am doing an actual you know, Walking Dead countdown. The Walking Dead countdown, if you guys are interested, is not people don't know this, but I actually did a Walking Dead countdown, which was like 30 days or something like that, before I even did anything with Doctor Who. So it's not a version of Doctor Who December. Doctor Who December was a version of the Walking Dead countdown. But seeing as I know most of you are Doctor Who people, the Walking Dead countdown's not going to be entirely the same. There's not as much stuff to react to in general. I don't have any extra episodes. I'm all caught up. Oh, coffee is so good. But I do have some videos that are kind of different, and I hope is going to be kind of exciting, but I'm also really nervous. I can't even express how nervous I am that sometimes these things that I plan won't go over that well. And it makes me kind of scared. I've also seen the love for The Walking Dead kind of dwindle over the past few years. I think some people are really excited for the new season. I am. I think they're kind of going into a fresh new vibe, but anyway. Now I'm going to talk about Fear the Walking Dead. There's only been 3 episodes since the mid-season finale. The mid-season premiere for me was just a really regular kind of catching up where everybody is now. I didn't get a ton of, but it was setting up everybody kind of going off into their own and everybody having their own stories, and it like I said, it really reminds me of season 4 of The Walking Dead, the back half of it, and I love that. That's like my favorite section of Walking Dead episodes ever. So the Alicia one with Charlie was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it to pieces. It really excelled, and it really reminded me of that stuff. And then this last Morgan one wasn't my favorite, but I'm okay with that. I'm giving it that's okay. I think the next one, well, one soon should be Strand and John, and that's really where I'm really excited, because I think that's going to be a good one. 2 characters that I actually really love still. But basically what I'm going to talk about with Fear, I'm just double checking that you guys, okay. I think I have a Fear question. I think this is like my first Fear question. George. I almost never get Fear questions. So George, thank you. Okay. Which says, in the original show, season 4B is my favorite show. I just said that. Stretch of episodes of all 8 seasons, and now in Fear the Walking Dead, season 4B is again shaping up to be my favorite arc of the show thus far, despite the fact that Fear the Walking Dead has used this structure a couple of times by now. How are you liking the separated stories in season 4B? I feel like they're going to be, I feel excited for some, maybe not, like if they do a Luciana episode, I'm not sure how much I care. you know, but the thing about these episodes is sometimes they turn you around on a character that you just didn't pay too much attention to before and stuff, and that makes me really, really excited for the stories that are coming up in this. It makes me really excited. The Alicia and Charlie one is the standout one, and I think will possibly continue to be the standout one, which I love. Alicia gets some good damn episodes, because the last one, the This Land Is Your Land, was so good for her. That one was just amazing. And the Morgan one didn't, I loved it because I love Morgan, you know what I mean? But it wasn't, like, it didn't blow me away, but I didn't think it was bad by any means. I just felt like I didn't end the episode going, oh, I feel so, you know, like taken aback because that was so good or anything like that. So I'm actually pretty excited to see where they're gonna go. I feel like they have Strand and John, that'll be one episode coming up. They do have the episode released, the episode names released. Let me see. Fear the Walking Dead episodes. Skip this part if you guys don't want to know. Week is that the next one? Excuse me. Oh, okay, Week, it might be Althea. I haven't seen scenes for the next one, so I don't actually know. And then Blackjack. Blackjack sounds like that's the Strand and John. Maybe not. It doesn't, they don't really have, descriptions or anything. At least where I'm looking. I'm sure they do, but I don't like to deep dive too much, because if I deep dive, then things are, you know. Okay, yeah, so I think the next one's going to actually be Althea and June, Laura, whatever the fuck her name is. And that's gonna be good. I like those two characters. So, and then I love, I don't know, I just am very excited. And then I believe it'll be Strand and John, and then maybe we might get to bringing everybody back together. But I love these stories. Whenever The Walking Dead does it, makes me really... Sometimes I feel like maybe people think that they're a miss or that they're boring, but I feel like The Walking Dead thrives on character exploration. And that's what this stuff really is, so that makes me excited. I do like these stories. Right now there's a lot of stuff floating around, and I talked about this in my last reaction, if you guys saw that, where people are like, well, you know, we care about the Clarks and all of this stuff. I've talked about this in my monthly chats before, but if you haven't really seen those, you guys can listen to me rant about the fact that I didn't really ever like the Clarks. Alicia's the best one, and she even isn't like my favorite character in Fear. My favorite characters in Fear have all fucking died off. So like, it's just, to me, a lot of, and I understand the fact that like Fear, I feel like, has an identity crisis every single season. That's how I feel about it. They're always like changing it up, and there's new, you know, almost there's a new setting, there's a new whatever every single season. And if they really did kill off Madison because they were really trying to take the show with Morgan, I feel like that's kind of weird. After you built so much of one character, I do agree with that sentiment towards it. But also, I agree with the fact that I never really liked Nick and I never really liked Madison. So I'm just like, meh, who cares? I was like, this is what these monthly chats are for me to be a little more blunt with my opinions, and I don't have to worry about a million vultures. Maybe just a couple of vultures, but a million vultures coming after me for it. But I cried because at Nick's death because it was very sad. I didn't even cry with Madison. I didn't even think she was dead, but maybe she is. But I don't know, I still maintain if you don't see a body, I don't want to hear it. But and everybody, when that happened, everybody was like, oh, she's definitely dead. Stop getting your hopes up. And I'm like, listen, I hope she's dead. Like, I don't need to see her. I was not a fan. But I do believe that the story focused mostly on them, and it's important. So, you know, like I understand but yeah, if you guys want to let me know what you guys think, if you're about Morgan and the new people, I like all of the new characters, so I'm about it. And I feel like they've introduced great new characters many times in the show. I was really upset that Taka and Crazy Dog were like just nowhere to be. Like, they saved him at the end with on the dam, and then like just bye, you know, like, and we just never see them again. Their story's done or whatever, but like, I enjoyed them. I thought it would have been nice to see them continue. So it's interesting. So let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. And then I'm trying to think of everything else that I kind of wanted to touch on. Where's Daniel? That's all I care about. Daniel's my favorite character, so, you know, if after the John and Strand episode, it's a Daniel episode, you will see me like have a heart attack on my couch. I will be so thrilled. I can't even tell you. I think that's about it for Fear the Walking Dead. Man, let me get into Luke Cage while I have the, because literally it's like the whole season. I think I talked about the first episode, which I wasn't a fan of, and then 203, 207, 209, 210, 212. I have not watched the finale yet, but I've watched the rest of the season. So you guys will be able to ask me questions about the finale if you guys care. I don't think I have any questions about Luke Cage. Let me just double check. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go, because I don't know how many of you are interested to hear me talk about Luke Cage, so I'm gonna kind of briefly go over this, and I've talked about it at the beginning of my last reaction, where Luke Cage is, Luke Cage, besides Frank, if you consider Frank a defender, which he's not technically, because Frank is the best, and has the best show, and all of that, and a bag of chips, love him. Luke is my favorite of the characters, of the defenders. Daredevil, I believe, has the best show out of the four, and Luke is the best. Iron Fist has the best side character, and Ward season 2 is coming back, guys. Oh my god. You know, but this season has been, I think it's been really good, but I did express in my last reaction that I'm kind of upset that it has very little to do with Luke, and a lot of people were kind of talking about the fact that, oh, they kind of responded with, you know, a lot of the Marvel Netflix shows have little to do with the actual star, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, Jessica Jones is for sure about Jessica Jones. I don't know. I feel like they're a lot more intertwined, and I feel like this is so very Bushmaster versus Mariah. Mariah grates on my last nerve. I would like her to die. That is the #1 thing that I want for the finale. I would like more Shades, because Shades has kind of, in the first season, Cottonmouth was my favorite character. He was just the best. Villain character, good guy, bad guy, ugh, kind of stuff. I just loved him. But since then, I think since then, he's won an Oscar, so, you know. Good for you, sweetie. I don't think he's coming back to Luke Cage. But, I kind of, I don't know, I miss that vibe in the first half of season 1. And I think they've done a really good job with Bushmaster, and I really hope they execute his ending, or at least the ending of his story in this season. I don't know if he's going to die or anything, very well. Certain things that I've loved. My favorite scene of the whole fracking thing so far has been Luke and Claire's fight. That was the most real and the best acting that Mike has done on the show. And it just hit me to my core, and that was amazing, and I would like that to get addressed again before the end. So I really want Claire to come back for the final episode. And everything else, I'm trying to think of other things that I would really like to. I would love to see Misty kind of hang out with Colleen more and fight some bad guys. I don't really need that for the finale. It would be nice to see Misty and Luke show up on Iron Fist. If, you know, seeing as Danny showed up, and I don't know, it kind of makes me. That would be kind of cool to really tie these two franchises like really strongly together. I think that would be a really, really neat thing to do. But yeah, I mean, the majority of my hopes and dreams and wants for the finale is literally just going to be for Mariah to die terribly, in all honesty. Okay. I'm gonna go into Vikings. I'm not sure if I have any questions for that as well. No, I don't think so. Okay. I just watched, by the way, I'm just gonna be full disclosure, I just recorded today episodes 3 and 4, so I have that foreknowledge. But we're just talking about episodes 7 to 9. Sometimes I have to pull up my videos because I watch so many shows all the time. I get kind of mixed up. The number one show that this happens with is Sense8. It's kind of difficult to remember what happens in which episode because there's so many different storylines going on. I'm just gonna pull up. Normally if I look at the screenshot of my reaction, I can be like, oh yeah, that one. So I'm just gonna take a look at, so it's episode, I know that episode 6 was a snake pit. I remember that. Excuse me, please. Are you? Oh, awesome. Okay. I found it. All right. So we have, oh, right. Okay. So we have, oh, the old guy dying. That's on my mind. So the ending of, so what's really interesting is you can tell that this series is done by the History Channel. You can tell that they care about the history, and because I felt the penultimate episode was really, maybe not the most thrilling or exciting like episode we've ever seen, but it was for sure this kind of really cool, depiction of the sacrifices and what you do and all of this stuff. It was really, really good. Even though I hated it. I do not like watching animals die. And people, I get shit from it sometimes. Most people kind of agree. It's a thing of like, they can't communicate with you to cry out for help. I think that that's like the main thing. And just hearing animals like whimper, and it just doesn't sit well with me, and I don't like it. And particularly dogs or monkeys, because those are my two honeys. But yeah, I mean, like, it's an interesting thing to see, and to see somebody just give up their life so willingly to, what in the world, how do you say the priest's name? Priest, Vikings. Oh, this is dangerous. Athelstan. See, I covered most of it, so I didn't get any spoilers. To see that he, you know, really didn't believe in that, in their gods, and so somebody else had to sacrifice themselves, and like, it's just really such a, like, you know, they're kind of happy to do it, but it's just like, what do you, I don't know. It's also, you know, another thing that the show has kind of done for me is sort of make me realize how much, because when you think about how a lot of people died back in those days, they're really horrifying deaths. They're really not great deaths to kind of, I don't know, it's quite brutal and violent and all of that, but they're so surrounded by it, and we're so far removed from that, most of us, that it's, for us, we're like, oh God, that's like the worst thing. But I wonder about the psychology of it all, and like how willing they are, and like or they just accept the fact, like if you're a woman in those times, like, do you just have to accept the fact that maybe the next day somebody could show up and like rape you and kill you? I'm just curious. Like, it's a genuine question. So it's kind of really depressing. But, and to be sacrificed, honestly, is probably a more pleasant death than, but to see somebody have to give up their life in that way, it's really interesting to me. So the whole thing between Ragnar and Rollo was fascinating. I loved it. I still cannot get, like, but there's a really big part of me that would really love them to take out that scene where he rapes the girl in like the second episode or the first episode. I forget what episode it was, but it was really early on. And because I want to really like Rollo. There is something really endearing about his character. I feel like he's changed maybe a little bit, and maybe is a little bit, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I want to really kind of be in his corner, because he's really, I love Ragnar, and I think I love Ragnar more, but there's something that I have this kind of want to really kind of be supportive of Rollo and his decisions and stuff. And like, full disclaimer, I've seen the episode where he kind of like fights off whatever the fuck his name is, I'm forgetting his name, but and gets Ragnar's family to safety and stuff like that. And so he's coming around, and he's being a little more of an endearing character, but it's hard for me to get that like initial rape out of my head. And I know that that's like a way of life or whatever for these Vikings, but I didn't appreciate seeing it anyway. But I love Ragnar and Rollo, and I feel like they're always going to be butting heads. I believe we are going to start seeing Rollo see that he can have a little bit of faith in himself, and that's going to be really kind of cool after a lot. And if Ragnar doesn't appreciate that, I feel like we're going to be back to them butting heads again. The season 2 premiere was probably one of the best premieres like I've ever witnessed in a show. It's a bold statement, but it's really true. It started with like the battle between Ragnar and Rollo. I know that it was technically with the other guy, but Ragnar and Rollo, and all of this stuff going on. And then to get hit with the emotional punch, and whoever plays Ragnar, whoever plays Lagertha, they are amazing. He's an amazing actor. She's an amazing actress. I love them so much. They are just beyond, just absolutely phenomenal. And I was really, really emotional with that whole thing. I think that's about it. I'm very curious about this king that we are dealing with. Hopefully, it might be kind of interesting to see what's going to happen with him, so good. All 3 shows that got picked, I keep saying this, but all 3 shows that got picked have been phenomenal. I'm gonna move on to Broadchurch. We have the last 2 episodes of season 1 and the first 3 episodes of season 2. There's a lot to cover. A lot of stuff happened in these few episodes. I'm gonna start with answering your questions and then just kind of talk. So George asks, general thoughts on Joe being revealed as the culprit, and did you have any suspicions before the reveal? Barely. Like, I would say yes, a little bit. He was on my short list, but not, like, it wasn't like, oh my god, it's him. And I think after season 1, you said you were curious about the show was going to from there. So what do you think about season 2, focusing on the aftermath of it all, follow the murder trial as well as the Sandberg case? I love it. But I'm going to start, so Joe being revealed, I'm going to talk about Joe being revealed first, and then I'll go into kind of the format of season 2. I believe that's the only question. Well, I could be wrong. Yes, okay. So the thing about Joe was I wasn't really, I've said this so many times, I wasn't trying to figure it out. I wasn't like, because it just ruins the reaction for you guys for me to go, oh my god. I mean, I did figure it out earlier on, like when David Tennant was like slowly walking, you know, that montage that they do, or whatever you want to call it, that they did and whatever, as soon as he talked to Joe and Tom, and then after when it just confirmed it with Ellie where he said, oh, you did a good job or something like that. He said something to the extent to her. And I said, Joe did it. I was like, well, there goes that. So I wasn't like, I wasn't so like shocked when it turned out to be Joe after that point, but I didn't think it was Joe like definitively after the episode 7. So I kind of knew within the first few minutes of episode 8, basically. So let me know when you guys knew. If I really was the type of person to be like, I'm going to analyze every little bit and every little, you know, which I do with other detective shows. Guys, Sharp Objects was so good. Go watch it anyway. Just an interjection. And if I were to do that, I might have maybe come to that a little sooner, maybe not. I'm not really sure, but it just wasn't really. But there were some people, it was more like I had kind of a process of elimination going. I really didn't think it was Paul. I didn't think it was Mark, though and there was some other people that I wasn't really sure, and for them to put such a focus on, I think I was really suspicious of Susan and her son. I'm forgetting his name, but I think I was very suspicious of them, but for them to put such a huge focus on them in the penultimate, I was like, ooh, maybe it's not them, you know? And I feel like with these type of shows, there is a slight formula of like, it's almost always somebody that you don't even think of as a suspect. Almost always, not entirely all the time. And I've watched a few shows kind of similar to this, and that kind of tends to be sort of the vibe, you know? So anyway, I absolutely thought it's weird to say, but I loved the ending because Ellie's heartbreak, I think, propelled the show to be as good as it is. I think that a lot of actors are doing a great job, but I think she is top notch. Her and the guy who plays Mark, I still don't know what the fuck his name is. I'm sure you people have told me too. I don't know, but he makes me cry. I would go as far to say he is one of the best actors in the show, if not the best actor in the show, at least for the roles that they're given. I know everybody's gonna yell at me, but I think he's phenomenal, and he breaks my heart. And because it's not even just his sadness, but it's his rage. I just love him. And it was just so devastating to see this all come out. And and this is going to sound weird, okay, guys? So you're going to have to bear with me for a second. But I actually really like what, everything with Joe. I love that they're showing that this guy is, like, sick. I mean, I haven't seen too much of season 2 yet, so I don't really know, but it seems like he's actually mentally ill. I don't know the technical term. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just, you know, watching this, but I'm actually really loving what they're doing with him in kind of a villainy sort of way, where we're watching a person right now. He's like, he can't go to prison for this. He's stated that and stuff, but it seems like he's trying to convince himself that he's innocent. Not only is his team of lawyers and stuff trying to do that, but he's trying to do that too. Oh man, you know what I mean? Like, I find him to be really great, and the actor's wonderful as well. Great story, I should say, not a great person. So for your other question, what do you think? Because I'm kind of moving into season 2 of the focus on the aftermath of it all. So the other night, let me tell you something that I did, because when I was growing up, I had a phase where I watched, and I think I mentioned this maybe in the next reaction, so you'll see this, but I watched The Practice, if you guys ever saw that show, and it definitely is very 90s now, but it holds up, because I literally just marathoned it the other night because I was like so about the courtroom stuff going on. I love that show. I love it, and I like wanted to be a lawyer because of that show when I was growing up. I probably, as young as I was watching that show, I probably shouldn't have been watching that show because it gets some really fucked up stuff happens. But because of that, Broadchurch season 2 is giving me so much nostalgia because it's not just like a courtroom, because like well, no offense if you like the show, I don't like Law and Order. I think it's too procedural. The Practice I really liked because it was really about the lawyers and the twisted shit they had to do and how they did it and what are their morals and the relationships between them. And some of the cases lasted season long, and it was not just like, here's a new murder, here's a new blah blah blah, here's a new, so that's why I loved it so much. And this is just bringing it back, not the same, feelings for the lawyers and stuff, but it's just, I don't know, it's just a nostalgia factor. I have no idea, but I'm loving every ounce of it because I'm already invested in the characters and for the court to get into all of this. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's my favorite part of season 2. I like the Sandbrook stuff as well. I want it to get resolved, and again, I'm kind of taking how I felt about season 1, where I'm like, well, I'm not really gonna, I'm not gonna get too crazy with this and try to figure everything out, but I have my suspicions about people and everything like that. But I absolutely love it. And the one thing that I've seen and people have said to me, and I kind of disagree, but you guys have seen more than me, and I absolutely admit that. So maybe they do some real shady stuff. But a lot of people say that they really hate the defense attorneys. And I am like, I hate the prosecuting attorney. I don't hate her, but she infuriates me more than them. Absolutely. She's letting these defense attorneys just run amok in this courtroom, and it's driving me nuts. She's also dealing with some illnesses, which I feel very bad for her, but maybe she should possibly give some of her workload over to her assistant. I go on this rant in episode 4. If she's, you're putting this justice that needs to be had, and I know that she said she didn't want to do it at first, but it really pisses me off that she's not being honest about her illness. Because you know Beth is going to hold it. I'll get to Beth in a second. And I can rant now because it's not my actual reaction. I'm a little more honest in these. And everything like that. I mean, I don't know. It just drives me nuts that she's trying to keep this illness a secret. She keeps telling her, I don't know if her partner or whoever it is that she's working on the case with, that she's okay. And I'm just like, girl, she's gonna fuck something up so bad because, you know. And like the defense attorneys are already beating your asses like so much. So we'll see what happens. Beth. I can't, like, obviously, I can't really say, wow, I can't stand Beth, because then there goes a lot of people coming after me like, well, she's a grieving mother. If you lost your child, you would feel the same. It's possible. I don't have a child. I didn't have one get murdered, so I have no idea how I'd react. Absolutely. But I also, you know, don't have a pedophile husband that I don't know how I'd react with Ellie. But you know what I mean? If I was in Ellie's shoes. So there's a point with that. But right now, Beth is grating on my last fucking nerve. Ugh. She bothers me. And like every single time I just like sit there and I don't say anything because I don't want people to yell at me for not liking the poor sad woman who lost her son. But you know, like, I'm over it. I'm over your shit with Ellie. And I believe that they're gonna hash it out eventually. I feel like shit is gonna go down and they're gonna get through it. But right now, I'm not here for it. Right now, I'm so protective of Ellie. Everybody's getting on her case about everything, and now they're trying to blame her for having an affair with her Hardy, which is the stupidest thing ever. And all of that. And I just really, honestly, like, and like her son blames her. I don't really know what's going on with that. We haven't delved into it too much, but her son blames her or whatever. Like, yeah, somebody give her a break. And like, so all I want right now is for Ellie to just have zero interaction with Beth, and that I will be happy. Because in other scenes, I feel like I really do sympathize with Beth and stuff like that, and I want her to be happy, and you know, it's not like I hate her, but it's whenever she kind of goes after Ellie, I am just like, girl, shut up. I understand, but how much, like, you know, leeway are we supposed to give the grieving mom? I don't know, but she's working on my last nerve. I'll tell you that. So, yeah, that's my little rant. I think that's about it for Broadchurch, and we are going to move on to, I think I'm going to move on to Sense8. Sense8's the tough one because I have to kind of look up what has been happening because you know, there's so many storylines going on at all different times, and I did it's hard to keep track. Okay, right, all right, yes, okay. I think I did have a Sense8 question. Let me find it. Luke asks, who is your favorite of the main 8? Who is my favorite of the main 8? I love them all. I've said this so many times. I love every single one of them. I have a deep connection to Kala. I feel like I feel the most connection to her just on a natural level. And then probably second would be Will. I have a really deep love for Will as well, because Will is just really, I feel like he's the go-getter of the group that really tries to help everybody and protect everybody. Not that not everybody else does, but I feel like he's got that mentality. It's the police officer in him, I think. Love him. Sense8 is turning out to be, I've said this before, it's such a unique show, and that's really the important part of this. It's really something that has never really been done before. The relationships between these people have never really been done before. And I love it. I love every second of it. Okay. So first I'm going to talk about everything going on with Whispers. I have seen the finale. And, oh, I guess I can talk to you guys about this. Those of you who are on my $20 tier as well can, you'll witness this. I had a bit of a hard time watching the finale, to say the least. I have some triggers that make me faint. It happened. I didn't faint, but I did lose vision. So if anybody, thankfully it's a really long episode and I have to cram a lot in the edited version into 10 minutes. So kind of, I don't think too many people are going to notice. It happened pretty early on in the episode. I don't think too many people are going to notice, and I'm not going to put any of that in the edit. But those of you who will be watching the full reaction will actually be seeing, I had to stop it twice. I stopped it once. I thought I was better, and then it was like a few minutes later I had to stop it again. So sorry that the reaction is going to be a little choppy. I explain it further in the reaction so you guys can watch that. But I have a couple of triggers that make me faint. And it happened. And I've gotten close to fainting before. I've never almost lost vision. It was pretty, kind of put a damper because I love Sense8 and I've just been loving this season so much, and I still do. That didn't affect my love for it, but it kind of, when I think of the finale, I was like, oh, that wasn't fun, you know? So I had a hard time with that. And so you guys are gonna, and I have a kind of very personal conversation with the camera, so you guys will hear kind of all about that. So just so you guys know, I've seen the finale. Okay, so everything going on with Whispers is really interesting. I have seen the finale, so I do know kind of how that at least wraps up for season 1. I'm very interested to see. What is going to be happening with all of this. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna have to figure out a way to fight Whispers and not have Will be drugged all the time, because he's one of my favorites, so like I would not appreciate that. Sorry to get into the finale, but I think that's gonna be interesting. I feel like Sense8 went on a really, really good pace of the first season. A lot of the episodes that I'm looking at that I'm talking about for this monthly chat have a lot to do with everyone getting used to being a part of the other's lives and stuff. We've had some more emotional things. Death Doesn't Let You Say Goodbye was such a big episode. And I loved Leto and Nomi talking. It was probably one of my favorite bits of season 1, and you know, his whole journey in that was really interesting. You know, Sun showing up and fighting, Will showing up and fighting, and these people kind of showing up and crossing paths. And there's some people that we haven't really seen. It's like some pairings, like I feel like Wolfgang and Nomi, not so much. Capheus and Leto. There's probably a few more pairings that haven't really happened yet. But my favorite pairing happened, and that was Wolfgang and Leto. That was my favorite. Episode 10 was my favorite episode of the season. It was so good. And so many really fun ways. Going into everybody's storyline, I believe Capheus's storyline might be slightly wrapped up in the sense of like him dealing with this guy and kind of getting into bad, I don't know. I'd also like to say that I am aware that he gets recast. That is something that I do know, so I'm not going to be super shocked. which is sad because I really like this Capheus, but maybe the other one's great as well. I don't know. Leto, everything seems to be kind of nice and happy again. But I think we still have a bit to resolve with everything with Whispers and all that. But also, I feel like Sun's storyline is probably the one that's really not as resolved as everybody else is. And so I hope we kind of dive into that a bit, starting with season 2. Also, what I did want to say is that I do know that season 2 is the beginning is like a 2-hour premiere special, whatever it is. I am aware of that. And I haven't really figured out how I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to... I might just try to do it how I edit like Doctor Who reactions normally. And have some without picture-in-picture. But Netflix is funny. Netflix... Like, so Netflix, I do a few shows by them. Stranger Things. Super block heavy for Stranger Things, especially with season 2. I was getting blocked left and right. They still, I think I have to re-upload my Stranger Things finale reaction because they just haven't like responded to my dispute when they blocked it. They released the episode 8 but not 9. All of the Marvel Netflix shows I've done, and they're normally pretty good, but sometimes they get block heavy. The Defenders was a bit annoying with that. But I know Alex, Tortured Boy, if you guys know him, he got a strike for Sense8 for some reason. And, you know, like, and they gave my other friend Anna a strike for Stranger Things. So, or 2 strikes actually she got. So I'm treading very, very lightly for this. So I'm gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna upload things a little bit early. I'm gonna try to get all of that done pretty quickly because I'm a little bit concerned that I don't really know if I should do it in 2 parts. I don't really want to do that. I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes, but I'm a little, yeah, nervous about it, and so you guys are gonna have to bear with me with that. But in general, I'm really excited to see where it's going. I am sad that there's only 1 season left. I kind of want to savor like every moment of Sense8 that I have left, and you know, I hope that I don't know. I'm very excited to see where they're going to go with these characters, and I really pray none of them die of the 8 or their friends and stuff, because I love them as well. All right, moving on. Doctor Who. I believe I did that again. So I'm going to do Doctor Who. I'm going to answer questions first. I have a feeling the majority of these questions are going to be, what do you think of Bill? But we'll see what they are. So we have Ranting is Always Fun asks, what do you think of Bill and Naruto? There you go. Bill, I like. I don't know too much with her. We haven't had a big character arc really yet. I feel like the first episode was probably the most in-depth character arc with her so far. Very kind of standalone episodes, but good. I like standalone episodes, especially when it's a new companion. We can kind of see some new stuff. Nardole, I adore. I think he's really funny and cute, and like I kind of want him to go on some adventures like with them, and I am kind of upset that that hasn't happened yet, at least that I've seen. So yeah, I really, really like him. What do you think of the relationship between Bill and 12? I quite love them together. I think 12 is being written very well in this season, and I don't know if that's his dynamic with Bill or if that's just the writing. I don't really know, but I'm really enjoying him a lot in this season. I've always liked him, but I'm definitely enjoying him a lot more in this season than I have before. So Absolutely. I haven't really seen too much of the relationship between Bill and 12 to really give a very strong opinion about, you know, how they are together. I like that she asks questions. I like that she's kind of cautious about stuff. And I like that, I don't know, it seems like it's a lot less dramatic, and I don't mean that in a bad way, than Clara and 12. And lastly, in the episode Thin Ice, how do you feel about the way 12 is okay and unaffected by the fate of the boy with the red hat on the ice? I thought it was, I thought it was the way that 12 is. I mean, we kind of saw in the Mummy on the Orient Express that 12 is kind of the doctor, that he doesn't really get super sentimental for people lost, unless it's somebody super close to him, I would say. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I think that he tries his best. He learns from every death that he experiences, especially when something like that is happening, and then he tries to figure out how to save the people who are still left alive, and he finds it, and it comes with how old he is, he finds it counterproductive to spend a really long time being upset. I talked about this in the reaction, but Bill, I feel like she got kind of a crash course of what it took 12 and Clara a much longer time to really hash out and get through and to comprehend, you know, why he feels that way. So Joe asks, I know it's very early in the series, but who do you prefer, Clara or Bill? Bill. Sorry. I know so many people love Clara. I was over it. I'm gonna be so blunt about it. I was over it. I think it was around the beginning of season 9, maybe towards the end of season 8, that I kind of accepted the fact that I was not going to be super about Clara. I don't hate her. I don't particularly like her. I think she's kind of just there. I think they change her personality based off of what they need for the story. And no, I'm okay. She has a very clear personality, but I feel like it's a very different path with each season. And I just found her to just not connect with me as much. And I don't know if I'm going to like Bill more at the end of it all. This isn't a final answer or anything, but I think I'm so content with the fact that we're starting with something fresh and new, because I knew Clara wasn't working for me. Not in the sense that Donna did, not in the sense that River does, not in the sense that Amy did, not in the sense that Rory did, not in the sense that Mickey did, you know, like even Martha, like you know, she wasn't as bad as Rose for me. But she was, you know, she just didn't, I didn't feel that, and I want to feel that again. I want to be really excited about the companion and feel like I can see things through their eyes, and I don't know if I'm going to get that with Bill, but there's the chance that I'm going to get that with Bill. Do you get what I'm saying with that? And that's kind of what I'm really clinging on to at the moment. So okay, my questions are mostly Doctor Who related. This is Paul, but fairly general, if that's allowed, of course. Oh, okay, that one's Sarah Jane. 2 quick ones on Classic Who, if I may. Firstly, I've noticed that lots of people have bought you Classic Who DVDs over the past year or so. Yes. Do you think it might be worth having some sort of list or chart up somewhere so those who want to add to your Classic Who collection in readiness for you tackling that can... Yeah, I just don't entirely know the platform that I can put up that list that everyone will see it. But that is a good idea, and I should probably try to figure that out, because we currently haven't gotten any doubles yet, but I really don't want people spending money on something that, yeah, like I've already gotten. So I just don't entirely know where I can put that so that people would know, you know? So I'll have to figure that out. Also, and this might be something you're planning to reveal in the future, have you given any thought to how you might cover the missing episodes? I probably won't, but hold on. I can imagine stories where most of the episodes exist. It might be easier to deal with the reconstruction, of course, the animated versions were applicable. But watching a reconstruction of an entire missing story is often hard for even the... Do you think you might skip entirely or mostly missing ones and just read the synopsis so you don't... Yeah, unless it's something that you guys say, oh my god, this is the most important thing, like you have to, because I believe it's like the last, I could be wrong with this, but the last like first Doctor story or something like that, that one has one missing. I'll probably still attempt that, but I could be thinking of something else. But in general, if there are any missing parts, I might just skip over it unless you guys say that it's, you know, the best thing ever. Because I mean, I do have a lot to go through. I have not even remotely thought about how I'm going to even get into that. I do know the next story that I'm going to be doing is The Edge of Destruction, I think that's the next one. And I'm going to be doing that starting in 2019. Sometime whenever I am all caught up with the New Who. I also don't entirely know. I have to see my schedule for everything. I don't entirely know when the next season, meaning season 12 of Doctor Who, shows up. I don't entirely know when if I'm going to be continuing Classic during the same time as that. I might not. It really depends on how many shows I have going on. The tough part about when people ask me, when are you going to do this, or like, when are you going to start Torchwood or Class or anything like that, I cannot give you an answer. It's probably not going to be for the rest of this year. That's a definite answer for those two. And then once release dates for all of the other shows that I react to get announced, then I can kind of work on, like, I wasn't entirely aware that I was going to be able to handle doing Sarah Jane Adventures this year until I started hearing when certain things were going to be coming and going. It helped that like Game of Thrones didn't come back this year. It helped that I kind of had a break in certain things, so I could add another show to my list. So it really is all something that I can't entirely, and I just fucking found out like True Detective is going to be in January. I cannot get a breakup in this. I really thought it was going to be in the summer, and reports were saying like probably not until late 2019, like, and I was trying to track all of that, and then they just released a freaking trailer being like starting in January. I'm like, well, fuck, that really messes up my entire schedule. Great. So that's the kind of stuff that I have to deal with all the time, trying to figure out if I can fit another show into the schedule. So Class is a little easier to try to work around because of just the sheer fact that Class is literally just 8 episodes, 10 episodes, something like that, than Torchwood. But I know that you were talking about Classic Who, but you know. So I don't know when Classic Who is happening. I believe I will start, Classic Who will kind of take Doctor Who's, even though it is Doctor Who, but you know what I mean, New Who, that place. And then it's gonna kind of, I don't entirely know how many I'm gonna do all at once. I don't know. You know, it's kind of, we'll see how it goes. And I'm probably, just another thing, I'm probably not going to edit Classic Who in the same way that I do Doctor Who, where I make it longer. Doctor Who takes me a very long time to edit, with having some stuff with footage, some stuff not. So I don't believe I'm going to do that with Classic Who unless there's a story that really requires it. So there's also that. That was just like an update about like what I'm thinking for next year and everything. But for missing episodes, I will probably just read a synopsis, and that's just how it's going to be. I know that there's going to be people who are going to be very not loving that, but I don't know. I just do not think that I could go through all of that. I don't know. Not entirely on my mind because I've got a lot of stuff to do before then, but we'll see. I mean, I don't have a ton to say that I haven't said in my wrap-ups. I liked both Christmas specials. Husbands of River Song, I talked about that pretty strongly in the review, so I'd probably just be repeating myself. So far, I've kind of loved that these have all been kind of standalone, except for the vault thing, which I'm glad nobody asked, like, what do you think's in the vault? Because you know, I don't know, and I don't want to know. I like not knowing. But I'm very intrigued by that. I feel like that might have to do with the season-long arc that I feel like Stephen Moffat has a bit of a formula to his, not meaning his writing, but I think that they have like he has like a formula of like, there's always like a big season-long arc, and I don't know. I'm very excited to see what it is. So far I've loved all three. I really liked Thin Ice. I thought that was really good. But all three have been great. None have been blow me away amazing. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to get into it and see if there will be one that is kind of, it just blows me away. This could be for Sarah Jane or Doctor Who, but are you going to watch K9 and Company? It's kind of further down on the list past, like, I do know it exists, but I have no plans to watch it yet. I maybe at some point in time in my life, yes. But I like Class and Torchwood are prioritized before, so. But I do love K9, so obviously it's on the list. It's just there's so much stuff that I want to, you know, get out for you guys, and you know. Alex asks, well, one is kind of a general one, which I'll end on that question. How are you coming along with your plans recording for Doctor Who December? This is like this Doctor Who segment's kind of like a weird update video kind of thing. How are my plans for Doctor Who December? Currently I'm not doing much because currently I'm focused on the Walking Dead countdown. Because I hate my free time, and I'm like, I'm gonna do 2 of these back to back. As soon as I get all of the Walking Dead countdown uploaded, I'm going to start heavily diving right on into Doctor Who December. That's, you know, and start filming for that. You guys don't even know. I'm crazy. I have some cool stuff planned. I have filmed some stuff for one video that is a bit of a different special video that I don't know is going to pan out. That's all I could say about it, but it's something that I'm really excited about. I really want to pan out. I started working on it a few months ago. I had the idea for it a very long time ago, but so we're gonna see how it goes. And there's another video, not that video, but another video that I planned to do last year. If you guys remember, I had one video kind of fall through. And what did I replace it with? I replaced it, I believe, with the cinema trailers. and stuff like that. I'm going to have a couple of kind of mini-sodes on deck for any sort of bigger videos that maybe might fall through and stuff like that. Because it just didn't work out and there was just no way I could accomplish it, and I didn't want to half-ass it if I did it. But so I'm gonna try to do it this year again. But I mean, we're getting to the point where it's almost fall and I am already like, oh shit, I should really work on that. So we'll see. I have worked on stuff. I've made some lists for stuff. I'm going to do a couple of top 10 videos. Spoilers, you guys, an inside look. There will be like some sort of ranking videos and stuff like that that I've kind of worked on already a bit. And but I haven't filmed too much for it, just a little bit. And right now everything is focused on getting these Walking Dead videos out, and then I'm gonna dive right on in, and then I possibly, besides True Detective, depending on when it airs in January, I might take a break in January for a bit for me to sleep. And then I kind of did something similar after the last Doctor Who December. It's very trying and exhausting, but you guys make it worth it. Yeah, so I've done plans. I will say everything is planned out. I love that people keep tweeting me and saying, you should react to this video for Doctor Who December. What about this video? Guys, I had Doctor Who December 2018 planned back in February, okay? I had everything marked out and just ready to go. I have my 31 days all set. And then I have some backups for in case something falls through. I love when you guys give me suggestions, but I have thought about this very thoroughly, or whatever you want to call it. So I hope that you guys are excited for it whenever it happens. It's going to be a little bit different than next year. Obviously, we don't have the big 50th anniversary special. We don't have Time of the Doctor or An Adventure in Space and Time. But it's different. It's not going to be as, I don't know the right way to say, but it's not going to be the same. It is still going to be 31 days themed video every single day, but it is not going to be the exact same vibe and the exact same type of videos as before. I have some new stuff coming your way that I hope you guys will like, or I guess we'll see. And I don't know. It's gonna be kind of scary, I guess. I will mention this in the next video, the next Doctor Who video, and I'm just gonna end on this note. You guys are gonna have to deal. Well, no, I won't talk about that. I'll let you guys just watch the to video. Never mind. Never mind. I won't talk about that. But there's a couple of videos that I'm very, very nervous about. Nervous about completing, nervous about the reactions. I do not want to disappoint. And what I will say for the end of this section, Doctor Who December, this is probably going to be the last one. I would love to do more if I could, but I don't think I would have as much of a variety of content. And I know that some of you could be like, well, you could just watch Classic Who every single day. Well, yes, I could. But the thing that's fun about Doctor Who December, I feel like, and you guys can let me know what you guys feel like, but it's something kind of new and exciting, and it's a celebration of all Doctor Who, not just New Who, not just Classic Who, not just whatever. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it again because I don't want to beat it to death. I'm very nervous that this one might not live up to, though I have some really fun ideas, as this might not live up to last year's. I'm not sure. I guess we're gonna find out. And I'm going to end this on the Sarah Jane Adventures. Of course, I want to end on the Sarah Jane Adventures and answer your questions on it. I don't have a ton to say about the you know, stories. They're all great. The last 3 stories were quite amazing. And it's really sad that I'm done. But I don't think I could say too much about the Sarah Jane Adventures that I haven't already said to you guys in the reactions, other than, you know, that it exceeded my expectations. George asks, have you read up on, have people told you what was intended to happen in the show after story 3? I have gotten things sent to me. I've read some of them. I've enjoyed, so story 4 would have been about Mr. Smith being made human, being played by the actor who voices him. That's kind of cool. I would have loved to see that. I was kind of wondering if Mr. Smith would have gotten his own little episode, at least, or story. Story 5 would have resulted in Clyde and Ronnie officially getting together as a couple. Thank God. I was so over it. Being stuck in an alternate reality where they grow old together and even had a kid. Boo. That's so sweet. Story 6 would have featured Skye being revealed to have been a product of the trickster. That's this stuff that I've heard. Would have featured the returns of Joe. Oh, I really love Joe. There are 4 Halloween specials planned after this, one of which featured the return of Alan and Maria. That would have been sweet. Which would have returned another classic Who companion. I guess I'm sort of wondering what your thoughts are on all of this. Reactions that never were, if you will. I think that I love the idea that they had all of this stuff planned out, and it's really sad that it couldn't continue because of such horrible circumstances. It had the potential to really keep on going, I think, for a very long time. It really, the stories just kept getting better and better, I felt. And I think season 4 might have been my favorite. I'm biased. But season 3 was really good too. I really enjoyed like all of them. I thought that they were all really, really wonderful. There were a couple of stories that maybe weren't the most exciting, but they were so amazing. But yeah, I would have loved to see some kind of focus on Mr. Smith because he's such a big part of the show. And obviously I really would have loved to see Clyde and Ronnie. And I love the trickster stories. I thought after a while they would start like really overusing the trickster stories, but they tend to really be good every single time. It's kind of interesting. Also, RTD also recently stated he thinks the show could have continued on after Sladen's death. So I'm curious, what do you think about that idea, or even the possibility of Sarah Jane Adventures characters crossing into the main show at some point in the future? I think it could have continued. I was just about to say that. I think it could have continued. I think that there would have been something greatly missing, obviously, and it wouldn't have been the same. But I think that Clyde and Ronnie both are strong enough characters that they could have kind of gone on at least to maybe like finish up the season or something like that. But I don't know if it's like a respect thing. You don't really want to just continue, and you know what I mean? I'm not sure how I feel about that. But do I think that it could have continued and still have told some nice stories? Of course, absolutely. The possibility Sarah Jane Adventures character crossing into the main show. I would love for Clyde to show up. Oh, I would love for Clyde to show up. Absolutely. I love Ronnie as well. Luke would have been great. All of them. Just, Skye, we just kind of met her. She's not, you know, but I just, did they, yeah, I mean, I think I would have really loved, why am I blanking? Did they ever do anything with the doctor finding out about Sarah Jane's, well, Sarah Jane could technically still be alive in the story, but I'm just saying, you know, did they ever address that? I can't remember. I think I'm just blanking on it. If they did, I don't know. But yeah, I absolutely think, I think Clyde would be great with 12. Because I always had this theory that Clyde's going to grow up to be a soldier. I don't think it's that far-fetched, seeing as Clyde has always talked about being a soldier, and he seems to be a great leader. I think that, and so I think that that would have been interesting for him in 12 to kind of have a thing. Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. And okay, so the last two, one from Paul, one from Alex, I'm gonna answer those questions at the end, kind of overall. But in general, I really love Sarah Jane Adventures. It was probably, I mean, exceeded beyond my expectations. I actually picked Sarah Jane first before Torchwood because I thought I would like Torchwood better. It's going to be interesting to see. I tend to like darker stuff. Whenever I would see just like pictures of Sarah Jane Adventures, it would be like little kids and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that. But man, did they prove me wrong. And that does not mean that I'm not gonna love Torchwood. I'm excited for Torchwood, but it, you know, I went with Sarah Jane first because I said, oh, this might be tough to get through if it's a lot of kid stories, but it related to anybody. And I cried a lot. And my honey was in it. I mean, for one episode, but I mean, that's all I need. It would have been great to have seen like some other characters show up and stuff, but they did such good like fan service with Classic Who as well, even though I don't know. I gotta say the number, like I have certain things that I'm really excited about, Sarah Jane being one of them, meeting her in Classic Who, meeting K9 in Classic Who is always another one, and really high up there, meeting the Brigadier in Classic Who. I can't wait, you know. See you in 2022. I don't know when they show up, I'm just saying. It's gonna take me forever to get to Classic Who. But I like that kind of came up. I like Jo when she showed up, but it's just absolutely wonderful. They did a really great bridge from the new Who to Classic Who, and I think that bridge was Sarah Jane Adventures. And she is just phenomenal and beautiful, and I mean that inside and out. She's just, what a lovely actress. Okay, so the last two questions are kind of general questions. So Paul asks, actually I suppose the first question could apply to any of the shows you cover. Do you ever find that the choice of episodes people request for full lengths itself ends up being a slight spoiler at all? Specifically, I was thinking back to Series 3 of Sarah Jane Adventures, when you correctly gathered from the mad woman in the attic that the doctor would be turning up in this season, but you said he expected it to be in the finale. However, you knew by then that people had asked for a full length on the following story, but not the finale. I wondered if that had given you any kind of inkling that you might be seeing the doctor sooner rather than later. Perhaps not, given that you've stated you try not to think ahead or guess too much, but it would only be natural and such, I would have thought. Interesting. This is a really interesting question. I like answering questions like this because it's more about like just my day-to-day life. Sometimes, I'm gonna be completely honest, sometimes I forget what the fulls are when I'm filming them. Sometimes I just, because I have so many shows, and like I can't tell you how many times I have to be like, oh, what are the fulls for this? And I have to like check before I start uploading a reaction, and I'm like, oh, do I have to upload a full too? And I check at the beginning of every week which reactions have fulls. I try to write it down in my planner, but sometimes I forget. I don't know if I forgot then, but that has happened many times before when you have so many shows and you're trying to remember that. That does make sense. I don't think that did cross my mind, but I think I did. That's true. Was the finale voted for as a full, and then maybe not? Maybe that's why you're saying that. Yeah, I don't know. So in general, for full reactions, does it spoil things for me or make me think that there's going to be a big episode? For some episodes, or for some shows, yes. Maybe Vikings. something like Vikings or Broadchurch. I would say those two particularly. I feel like shit goes down in said episode. It doesn't really tell me what shit goes down, but it just tells me that it might be a little more eventful than others, maybe. For Sense8, I don't even know how you vote for Fulls. I think that they picked 4 because there was a really big scene in that. I'm not going to talk about what it was if you're going to watch it eventually. And then they picked like the last few because Sense8 has so many storylines intertwined. I can't keep track of what episode, and I just recently watched it. I can't keep track of what episode's what. So that doesn't really, you know. But yeah, with Sarah Jane Adventures and Doctor Who, no. They do not, because if anything was a example of this, I would say season 7 would have been the biggest example of this, where like my favorite episodes were, like a good majority of them were not picked as Fulls. They just weren't. And there were obviously big episodes, but I don't get, because I do kind of more full reactions for Doctor Who than any other show. Normally I try to do about half for most of the shows. And then Doctor Who I do a little bit more because I know why you guys are here, for the most part. So it really doesn't, because like it could be, I mean, I normally think a finale is going to be a big episode, but other than that, it could be just like, oh, we really like this episode personally, but you know, I can't decipher. I didn't know in season 7 of Doctor Who that episode 5 was going to be probably one of the biggest episodes for me to ever react to. I thought that was going to be more like you know, regular kind of more standalone, but people thought it was pretty good type of episode. It doesn't really spoil anything for me in that sense, because I mean, and I tend to not agree with the norm. Well, not all the time, but when it comes to which episodes I really love. You know, and that's what I said in season 7, episodes 2 and 3 particularly are just the best. And I actually rewatched them a lot. And they weren't voted for full. So it doesn't really make me say like, oh, I'm really gonna like, but does it tell me anything? I guess with the example that you gave, I would probably say yes. If I was thinking about it, but it was probably a case of I sometimes really don't even remember what Fulls are, and I have to go back and go, oh yeah, oh right, okay, cool, yeah, I remember now. So yeah. Alex asks, what has been your own standout moment of the programs you have reacted to so far this month? I should do that every month. I should end it on like my favorite moment of the month in the shows. Let me go to the shows. What do we have? Well, technically this was last month, I think. I have like 3 that I want to choose. I have one from Sense8, I have one from Vikings, and one from Doctor Who. But I think I have to, because of because of history, I will go with Doctor Who. Even though I think this is technically last month, I would probably say the final little bit in Husbands of River Song was my favorite moment. And in case anybody is going through Doctor Who, I'm not going to say exactly what, because this is technically not in the Doctor Who segment of, but yeah, probably that moment would be my favorite of the month. It got me really emotional. Both actors in that scene are amazing, but there is a Sense8 scene and a Viking scene that is very close, I would say. I guess Broadchurch too, with everything as well. I don't know. I'm watching a lot of good shows right now, so, but I don't think anything can compare to the ending of Husbands of River Song. I just do not think that that could happen. So, yeah, that's about it. And this is the monthly chat. I don't know how long this is, probably vary. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let me know what you guys think about the monthly video, reorchestrating it, or trying to figure out the best way to do that. Starting with the new month, I'm going to kind of clean up the tier descriptions, and because as I've said before, the last few have been, you know, not, the last few months I've been trying out things and not really sure what I'm going to keep, what I'm not, and so hopefully I will be figuring that out for this next month, and everything will get completely cleaned up, and we will now like really have a clear idea of what everything is going to go on in Patreon. If there is anything that you guys particularly, another thing, if there is anything that you guys particularly want me to look at, to consider for doing for Patreon, I can definitely do that as well. So yeah, please leave all of that in the comments. I hope that you guys enjoyed this monthly chat. I feel so much more comfortable in my swivel chair. As you guys see, I've been doing this the whole time. Sitting here in this, and it makes me feel like I can talk for longer, and I feel so much better. And it's thanks to you guys that I'm starting to get stuff that is helping me work a lot easier for you guys for this channel. And I hope that you guys know how thankful I am, and it means so much to me. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.